In today's fast paced world, many of us are plagued by lack of focus, stress, anxiety, even depression. These issues affect millions globally. But what's really happening inside our brain when we feel this way? Let's look a closer look at our brain activity and how it can be influenced. Hey there, thanks for stopping by. If you're here for the first time, I'm Devi Sundar, founder and director of Teletherapies and Breathe Thrive. Today, I'm going to talk to you about your brain activity and how you can influence the brain activity to a positive note to have a calmer and happier life. If you're not already done, please do hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you get notified on my weekly content. Without any further ado, let's jump into the video. Our brain is a complex structure which is composed of different regions responsible for different functions in our body, and that's exhibited by our actions. Yeah. The two key areas that is involved in stress and emotion are our prefrontal cortex and the limbic system. And the limbic system, when we talk about limbic system, which I've spoken in many of my previous videos, the two main structures inside the limbic system for our emotional brain, which for our emotional responses, is amygdala and hippocampus. Yeah. Our amygdala is for the emotional responses and hippocampus for storage of those memories. When we are stressed or anxious, these systems get into overdrive and drive us for our actions, impulsive actions. So, how we can calm our hyperactivity? The answer is the science for many years and the research has confirmed the ancient practices like pranayama, Om chanting, and meditation have proven to reduce this hyperactivity by influencing our brain activity. When I'm talking about the brain activity here, I'm talking about our brain waves. Do you know that we have four major brain waves that influence our pattern or behavior or the personality what we have? Let's take a closer look at our brain waves. There are certain regions in our brain that are active when our brain is at rest and not focused on the outside world. This network is involved in self referential thinking, mind wandering, daydreaming, and process related to the self. And that is called the default mode network in our brain regions. And the regions involved in that is the hippocampus, medial prefrontal cortex, posterior cingulate cortex, and the lateral temporal cortex. Now, firing of these actually creates waves. So that's the brain waves. The brain waves, the major four main brain waves, which we are going to discuss the beta waves, alpha waves, theta waves, and gamma waves, which is all related to a focused wakeful status. So the beta wave is measured in hertz, and it's all the brain waves are measured in hertz. So you can see it's 12 to 30 hertz, and it's involved in active thinking, focus, problem solving, decision making. And so when you're doing these activities, you are in a beta state. Your brain activity waves are in beta waves. When you're actually relaxed, closing your eyes and relaxed state, mindfulness, it is around the hertz of 8 to 12 hertz, and you're in a state of calm, focused, which is can be felt when you're in a mindfulness activities or in terms of meditation. Those are the states. Just closing your eyes and just making yourself self aware of yourself. That's where you're in alpha waves. And the next level is theta waves, going into a light, light sleep, deep relaxation, where it is into the meditation. So meditation, for many people, misunderstand as a sleeping state. It is not a sleep. It is a deep, relaxed state where your mind is actually visualizing, and it's a light sleep, but it's you're not into a deep sleep. It's just before falling into sleep, the trance sleep state, and your creativity and imaginations just are at the peak. when you're in the theta state. And that brain activity is measured at 4 to 8. The brain wave is 4 to 8 hertz. That's the strength of it. So then you're in theta state. And delta state is the deep sleep or unconscious state where your brain wave is measured zero point 0.5 to 4 hertz. These are four common brain waves when people are discussing about the conscious and brain activity. And on top of it is a gamma wave, which is between 30 to 100 hertz. It is a eye level information processing, cognitive function, and conscious perception. And this is where you get into the state of brain activity when you're having a consistent practice of meditation, breathing, or chanting, and your brain structures and functions have been more in a self aware state where you can process information in a calmer way, and your amygdala or the emotion center is deactivated and firing because you're focused in that eye information consumption, and a cognitive function is working in clarity. So, what is the effect of chanting Om? And what is the scientific evidence? The neuroscientific studies have explored effects of this practice on our brain and body, revealing some interesting findings. When you're chanting Om, it has an impact on your brain activity and neural synchronization. So, talking about your brain waves, it increases your theta and alpha waves. The EEG studies show that chanting Om increases these two waves, leading to relaxation, meditative status, and reduced stress levels. Alpha waves are particularly linked to a calmer and alert state of mind. And it doesn't stop with that, it has more benefits. We know that amygdala is a fear center and it is actually responsible for fight, flight, and freeze response. So, decrease amygdala activity. So, this is going to be happening when you're doing this consistent practice of Om chanting, and it contributes to reduced anxiety and increased emotional stability. And it has been reported by all the practitioners who have been practicing the Om chanting. And further, Om chanting is going to activate the default mode network, the regions where I earlier mentioned, response for the mind wandering, daydreaming, self referential thinking, self awareness. So the default mode network is getting activated, and this is due to the effects of Om chanting. So you become more self aware and more introspective about yourself. Now, moving on to the physiological effects, Om chanting also regulates our autonomous nervous system, especially the parasympathetic and the common digest, and this results in decreased heart rate, respiratory rate. So that contributes to our state of relaxation and reduced stress. And it also increase heart rate variability. So higher heart rate variability is a marker of a good autonomic flexibility and overall cardiovascular health. So Om chanting is associated with increased heart rate variability, indicating better stress resilience and autonomic control. And what is the effect on the psychology and emotions? It leads to, as I already mentioned, it deactivates or lessens the firing of the amygdala center, the limbic part of the brain. It leads to reduced stress and anxiety, along with the activation of parasympathetic activity. And it also enhances our focus and cognitive function by improving our alpha and theta wave state rather than moving into a beta wave state. Yeah. How it happens when you're chanting Om? It is mainly due to two main factors. One is due to their vibrational effects, and the other one is with the mindfulness and the breathing when you're chanting the Om. So, vibration effects is directly linked to our brain and our body. So, when you're chanting Om, saying Om, a resonance is created by the chant, which stimulates the vagus nerve, and that plays a key role in activation of your parasympathetic regulation. And talking into the mindfulness and breathing, it involves a deep rhythmic breathing, which can independently influence the relaxation and reduce stress levels. So, mindfulness aspect is focusing on the chant, also leads to a calming state when I mentioned about the relaxation. So, what is the research evidence? The study on neurohemodynamics in the International Journal of Yoga in 2011 used the MRI scans to observe the brain activity during Om chanting. And these results indicated deactivation of the limbic brain region, and so less firing of it, including the region of the amygdala, and leading to a calming effect on the emotional processing center. And also, a study in the Indian Journal of Medical Research in 2018 found that Om chanting can influence the autonomic functions by enhancing the parasympathetic activity and evidenced by increased heart rate variability. So, in summary, the practice of chanting Om has been shown as significant effects on the brain activity, autonomic regulation, and also emotional well-being. So, these makes it a strong case that Om chanting is a valuable tool to reduce stress, enhance mindfulness, and promote overall mental and physical health. I'd also like to shed light on the neurochemical changes which happens during Om chanting. So for that, I wanted to introduce some terms here, and these are the neurotransmitters, which is actually helping us to promote the supporting the neuronal activity to promote that calmness inside us. So the GABA, which is the gamma aminobutyric acid. It is a primary inhibitor neurotransmitter in the brain, promoting relaxation and reducing the neuronal activity. So, increased levels of this would actually lead to reduced anxiety and improved mood. And the next one is a glutamate. It is a primary excitatory neurotransmitter involved in the cognitive functions such as learning and memory. So, balancing this glutamate activity is crucial for preventing overstimulation of neurons. And then the other component is the glutamic acid. This amino acid is a precursor of the GABA and the glutamate. It plays a vital role in their synthesis and regulation. So, what does the Om chanting now have an impact on these? So, chanting Om can increase GABA levels, yeah, and that leads to a calming effect and reducing anxiety and stress. And also, modulation of the glutamate by influencing the levels of glutamate. There, it helps to maintain the excitatory inhibitory balance in the brain, which then optimizes our cognitive function and emotional regulation. There has been a study conducted on Om chanting in Indian males, and the effects of Om chanting have revealed that it is improving their cognitive function and induces calmness. And so, 5 minutes of daily practice for 66 days was given to them, and there was evidence of their neurobiological and psychological changes. And so, the conclusion derived from the study was the participant reported a profound sense of peace, reduced stress, and enhanced well being after engaging in the regular Om chanting. And this has been due to the deactivation of the limbic system, reducing the stress and anxiety, and fosters a mindful state, affecting the default mode network. So, regular practice of Om chanting leads to a sustained benefits and enhanced quality of life. Are you ready to do Om chanting for 1 minute with me? Let's start. Sit comfortably in a chair or on the ground. Close your eyes. Place your hands, palm of your hands open upwards on your lap. Om. Om. So that's 1 minute. Now, you can do this for 5 minutes for next 6 days and see the changes inside you. And you're also at the same time need to trust that while you're doing this practice for 66 days, your brain structures and functions are also changing to a more positive side. Yeah, you're actually deactivating that limbic system, getting more calmer, and influencing your clarity in thinking. Those are all the benefits you're going to gain by doing 5 minutes of Om chanting every day for next 66 days. Are you up to the challenge? So they have, folks, the effects of Om chanting on your brain activity and how you can influence to a positive note. As usual, stay healthy, stay curious. Signing off, Devi Sundar.